man responsible for a deadly shooting in Grand Bay back in 2013 is out of jail just hours after a judge sentenced him to 18 years behind bars. News 5's Emily DeVoe explains what happened and why he may never have to see a prison cell.
After 2.5 years of waiting, Bo Lundy's family finally has the closure they wanted.
We may never be able to make him realize what he did wrong, but to have somebody actually sit there and say it and force it on him was a big thing.
A jury found 66-year-old Stanley Clemmons guilty of manslaughter for shooting Lundy, a boyfriend of his daughter, outside a home in Grand Bay.
The case went to trial, and we were pleased to get a conviction of manslaughter and avoid the murder conviction.
Obviously, it's not what we were hoping for. I still think it was murder, but I'll be the first to admit that it was a tough case, and the jury deliberated almost 2 days on the whole thing.
Clemmons was taken to Metro Jail in handcuffs yesterday afternoon when a judge gave him the max sentence for manslaughter, which is 20 years in prison. But just hours later, Clemmons was released.
Anything 20 years or under, he's entitled to an appeal bond.
We gave notice of appeal of the case and asked for an appeal bond, and the judge set a $50,000 appeal bond, and he was released.
The problem here is that Clemmons is in very poor health, suffering from cancer.
He has no kidneys. He's on dialysis 3 days a week. He has no bladder. He has other medical conditions.
There's a chance Clemmons might not survive the long process of waiting for his appeal to be heard, which means he might never have to go to prison.
There's a possibility, but hopefully we're going to, one, remain healthy, and two, get the case reversed and come back down and win it the next time.
Under the circumstances of this particular case, 20 years was what he needed to get. I mean, those other shenanigans don't matter. If you're strong enough to pull the trigger, you're strong enough to do the time.
And doing the time depends on whether or not the court accepts his appeal and if he's alive to see it. In Mobile, Emily DeVoe, News 5.
And as you heard in the story, he was sentenced to 20 years. It could take nearly a year before the appeals process is complete, especially if it goes to the Alabama Supreme Court. Throughout the case, Clemmons maintained that this was self-defense.